So today I want to talk about something that took me far too long to learn. It's been like 8 years and it's only just finally started to sink in. It's how to be really valuable as a cinematographer and a collaborator. And the answer, don't be a people pleaser. I mentioned this in a previous video, but part of the job is getting comfortable being uncomfortable. If you're shooting outside and you know you need the sun to come out and backlight this character, you need to be okay with holding everyone up for 5 minutes while you wait for a cloud to pass, because you know that otherwise it won't match the reverse shot that you shot half an hour ago. That's not to say though that you should just be difficult and always just pointing out problems, but you should know which problems to point out, when to bring them up, and if they are better fixed now or if there might be a easier solution later. For instance, on Flush, this kind of sci-fi short that I did a while back, it was quite a complicated script and there were a few moments where we realised on set that we made a couple of gaffes. A tap should have been running, a door should have been open, etc. But after a quick look at the footage, I knew because of the placement of those things and because no one walked in front of them mid-shot, it would be a very easy job for my VFX guy to fix it. And it would be a huge waste of time going back and refilming all that stuff now when a much easier and definitely cheaper solution is available. But that's not always the case. So Deakins talks about how on 1917, he had to be the problem. In pre-production, him and Sam Mendes had decided that the whole film needed to have this overcast look. So when they turned up for the first day of shooting, and it was this glorious sunny day, Roger had to say they couldn't shoot. And he said that even though he knew deep down it was rubbish, he felt personally responsible for there not being any clouds. So on their podcast, him and James talked about how it was awful, really, when everyone kept asking, can we shoot yet? Can we shoot yet? Even though they knew they were just doing their jobs, which was to keep everything on schedule. Roger had to do that because he knew that 6 months later, when they're sat in the editing bay, they're not going to use any of the sunny footage because it doesn't fit the tone of the film. So if they took the easy way out and said, yeah, we can shoot now, all they'd be doing is wasting everyone's time that could be better spent rehearsing the moves so that when the weather was right, they're ready to hit the ground running. This shows that even the best cinematographer working today still struggles, like we all do, with feeling responsible for things that are totally beyond your control, which is a waste of time. But to make ourselves as valuable as possible, what we can do is learn everything there is to know about what we can control and be comfortable sticking our neck out sometimes and saying, I know this is going to make things a little more complicated now, but if we don't do it, we'll only be shooting ourselves in the foot later. I don't know about everyone else, but whenever a producer or director has kind of a scheduling or a budget problem, I just want to help. And I end up saying, yeah, that's fine, we can work with that, but actually it might not be fine and it might cause untold problems later. For instance, it might make logistical and scheduling sense for us to shoot in one interior location first thing in the morning because maybe we only have access at that time. But if that then means we'll be getting to our exterior location in, say, the middle of a field at midday and only have a couple of hours to shoot, it's going to be a very harsh, toppy sun and the footage is going to look horrendous. So this is where you can come in and say, I know that works better for the schedule, but why don't we swap that scene with something from a different day so we can be at the exterior location at a better time just on another day? Or, if that's not possible, can we tweak the location a bit and maybe shoot at the edge of the field under some tree cover just to kind of diffuse the light a bit? Or if that also doesn't work because the director says for some reason, it has to be in the middle of the field, then you know that you'll have to say, okay, that's fine, but we're going to need at least a couple of extra grips because we're going to have to set up a 20 by overhead frame to soften this blasting overhead light, as well as big neg blankets to add some shape back in when it's all just going to be very flat. So it's fine, but there will be knock-on effects that we'll need to account for. This is how I think a cinematography career is really built, not by buying stuff, but by, as Patrick from the Wandering DP says, developing your Rolodex of problems and your corresponding solutions. No one wants to be around a negative person who just says no to everything. But people love working with the confident person who says, that's going to be a problem, but here are several different solutions.